So I gave him this whole blueprint for the next 10 years that, look, I want to create multiple participative platforms. I want to create my health and wellness platform, because a large number of people who come and experience platforms like this want to ask you, boss, how do I get fitter and stronger? You don't want to push them to, third-party, non-related, platforms, because you don't even know what the hell those people are doing, and you don't even subscribe to it. So I'm generally someone who shies away from recommending anything unless I have tried it.
So around, let's say 40s when you study. So that's not a typical age when these days you would see someone starting up, right?
Yeah.
People are almost folding up by now.
Yeah.
And the idea of getting into sports, is that because that was a time when you were personally transforming yourself?
Why Devil Circuit? So what happened was, I used to work in Dubai. I was head of sales for a leading systems integrator, and I was managing the sales for Middle East and Africa for all the telcos. Great money, great life. I had and I used to love cars, by the way, cars and fancy watches, and because these were things that you can hide behind, right? You can hide your weight and all the other physical sort of challenges, that, okay, I drive this car, I live here, I have this watch. But then I was not happy, so I had the opportunity of coming to India to head sales for India as well.
So I'll make a quick intro about myself. Everyone, my name is Dilip. I'm an entrepreneur and endurance athlete, now and host to this podcast. This podcast is brought by Rainmatter Health. It's an initiative by the team Zerodha. The idea here is to invest and support entrepreneurs and founders who are building startups and innovative solutions around health and wellness. We strongly believe that for Indians to stay healthy, there have to be entrepreneurs and innovators to build solutions to help them stay fit and make healthy choices to eat right and sleep well. So that's the idea about Rainmatter Health. I also host another podcast called The Other Side. It's on YouTube, so please check out. With me, I have guest Adnan Adeeb, the founder of Devil Circuit. I'll let Adnan introduce about himself. Adnan.
Hey, thank you so much, Dilip. This is my first podcast, so I am slightly nervous, and hopefully, we can keep the audience engaged. I'm 50 years young. This is my second or third business, but this is something which is very close to my heart, and I've been doing this for the last 10 years. The idea is to try and get India active and to try and, create platforms of impact. And, we're 10 years young as a business, and here we are as part of Team Zerodha, I guess, in a way. We're truly blessed and privileged, and back to you and whatever questions you want to ask. Yeah.
Great. No, it's fun to have you. And we were just talking before the camera was rolling that at least most of the people here probably half your age. So how often is that you're in a room and you're screwing the
every day
average age of
No, every day. I think the average age in my office is 25, and that's because I'm part of that group. But honestly, truly speaking, I just can't believe, physically I'm 50 years, strong, because mentally I just feel that, I've just started off. And it's, the last 10 years have been sort of a blessing, because for the first time in my long career, I'm doing something which is close to my heart, and I'm actually having a blast. And we just completed, 50 editions of the Devil Circuit, completed 10 years of the Devil Circuit. Thank you. It was a very, very momentous day for us, 19th of March, 2023. I never imagined that A, we would get to this milestone. B, I would become the de facto MC at all my races. But feeling truly blessed, truly privileged, and very, very pumped and excited about the next 10 years, because for the first time in my professional career, I believe that, we brought about some sort of a positive impact in at least 100,000 runners, who've run as part of the 10 years of the Devil Circuit, so.
Oh, fantastic. So, I mean, I can already see people in this room now, kind of very attentive towards what you're saying, because now they're hard to believe that this guy who's sitting there is a 50-year-old. So, no, it's fun. And I'm sure for the next, an hour or so when we're going to talk, we're going to unpack a lot about you and the business. So Devil Circuit. So what is Devil Circuit? Like for someone who haven't, it's an iconic brand already in the obstacle racing in the running space now. But for people who are hearing this for the first time, in a layman language, what's Devil Circuit?
So very simply, it's an obstacle race. It's obstacle course racing, or OCR as they call it now, has become an Olympic sport. So from 2028, Los Angeles, obstacle running is going to be an Olympic sport, and we're very excited that we were the first player in India to launch this particular sport. So it's a running format. It has varying distances. The format that we started with, we kept it very, very sort of basic, with 5 kilometers of running and 15 to 18 obstacles, with which we kept refreshing every year. So it basically gives you the opportunity of running the fastest that you've ever run, and also, testing your physical strength, your upper body, your core, your balance, your agility in doing certain obstacles which you normally as an adult don't get to do.
Right.
So you cross the finish line and you realize that you're not as bad as you thought you were, and hopefully what we've seen is the idea was always about getting the average runner to come out and realize the true potential in himself or herself, and then start on that journey of becoming the fittest you. So in a nutshell, obstacle running, 5 kilometers, 15, 18 obstacles. Now very excited because, from 2028, it's becoming an Olympic sport.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very big milestone because having known you, I've known you mostly, read about the brand Devil Circuit, and I got to know you very recently, and it's just so amazing to kind of see how you build this iconic brand over the last, it's hard to believe that it's 10 years.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine, and when I said I'm going to talk to you today, I remember he messaging me almost 4-5 years back, saying that, look, I'm going to have this Devil Circuit race over the weekend, and the best thing, post the finish line, I'm probably also going to get a beer. So I was like, that's a great thing, because I do road running,
right.
and the only thing you get in a road running is an energy drink and a medal. Right. So it's just amazing to see that how you created this asset and property out of India.
Ironically, so I don't drink, I'm a teetotaler, but I probably am the only person in India who must have given away free alcohol to at least 100,000 runners.
Yeah.
But then, what happened while we were building out the property, there was a ruling by the Supreme Court about the distance from the main road to a place of a disbursement of alcohol, if you remember a couple of years ago.
Yeah, for the alcoholic.
Yeah. So we got that particular exit opportunity to sort of cut back from the alcohol. And now what we see is that the runners at the finish line don't actually miss it, because the organic high takes them to another level.
Yeah.
And makes me even feel more comfortable, because, it was the opposite of what I was trying to do, get people healthy and more active. Right. So yes, so it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is no alcohol anymore. There was initially in the first couple of years.
But it's a different kind of high.
Yeah, it's a different high. It's a different high, and like I said, it's difficult to describe. But if you've run the Devil Circuit once, you're coming back again and again and again.
Yeah. No, I was there for your Bangalore edition, and I can tell you for sure it was just crazy and mind-blowing how in fact, that makes me ask you that so let's double click on the race itself. So it's open for everyone. It's open, it's age agnostic,
16 years and older, so the spectrum of participation goes all the way from 16 to 79. So my strongest runner is, this individual from Ludhiana. His name is Dilip Singh. He's the fittest individual I've ever come across, and he's been running this race for the last 3 years.
Wow.
The youngest is, a 16-year-old kid who ran with his father, and there are many 16-year-olds who are now running. And the reason why it's 16 and older is because you got to sign a sort of a waiver. God forbid any injuries happen, you're responsible for yourself. But the best part is the first few races, which I went about, so my background is I used to work in tech. I was in product sales, right? And I lived.
I want to get to your. I'm sorry. I want to get to your background, but
so coming to staying on the sort of demographic of the runners, right? The coolest thing that I've actually experienced and seen consistently in the last 10 years is that over 35% of the runners are women.
Wow.
And they're the easiest to convince.
Yeah.
They're the easiest to convince, come and, show us what you've got.
Yeah.
And the irony is, when you go to a lot of these gyms, whether it's a CrossFit studio or it's these bodybuilding studios, right? You find people who generally would look very fit to you and say, yeah, Dilip, come and run the devil circuit. Then, yeah, I'm going to train for it for a year and then I'll come next year, because at the moment I'm not in that physical frame of mind. But, to them and to everybody else, who is thinking about the devil circuit, I think it's more of a mental challenge as much it is a physical challenge, right? If mentally you're ready to, take on something that, you've never done before, the physical part will happen, So
for sure, I can absolutely second to that. It's very much out there in terms of mental and physical challenge, because I used to think that I am fit till the time I showed up to the event, and I told you this offline. I chickened out of almost. Putting it in public, I chickened out almost 8 out of 10 obstacles because I just couldn't do it. And the way I am designed, my body right now, it's for a different sport, and that requires a lot of different type of physiology and physique to do it. And I was just coming off of a marathon a week back, and I had still fatigue on my legs. But it was super hard, and the high which I was getting by seeing people jumping and going up on the ropes, it was just amazing.
One of the things I've been always saying from the very beginning is that be rest assured about one thing: you're going to go home with bruises, but you will go home with pride.
I for sure had bruises. I can vouch for that.
Yeah, but it's like a moment of pride, that you've got a sort of a battle bruise, and you're proud about it. That you came out of your comfort zone to do something which you normally as an adult don't do anymore. You find, sadly, when you get into a corporate career, just everything just takes a backseat. While we're all working towards making money, we're all working towards having a good retirement. The issue that we all face by the time we get to 35 or 40 is that, we're either obese, we're completely unfit, we've got some physical disability with regards to, whether it's breathing issues or it's sugar, So by the time you even get to a position where you want to retire, you've got, 10 other physical ailments that you shouldn't have, picked up on the way, So, and I think people forget that, life is not just about making money.
No, my next question was to ask you that why does it exist, and I think you partly said that, but I still want you to kind of double click, because it's alarming. I was reading a data which said that almost 80% of the population between the age group of 28 and 45 today has some sort of lifestyle disorder, right? They're struggling with some lifestyle issues, which is going to cripple them as they start aging and as they start going closer to your mid 30s and your early 30s. So, good point to tell. Why does devil circuit exist? Why now?
The thing is, I don't know why. So I'll just give you a little background as to, where this came about, right?
Sure.
So like you said about most people in India suffering from obesity and other ailments with regards to diabetes, etc. Right? I myself at 35 was 94 kilos heavy, right? If I look at my old pictures, I lose sleep for a couple of days at, what the hell was I? Yeah, was that even me? And I have a lot more respect for my wife, that she married this guy because I just failed to recognize that individual. But the reason I think became that person was because, I was working towards making money only. I was working towards meeting my targets, exceeding my targets. There was no time for myself. There was no time to go to the gym. Whatever time I had, I would go and, take a protein shake and, pump some iron and become even more bloated than I should have. At 35, I had a problem with my spine, C6, C7 extrusion, so I couldn't even open a water bottle with my right hand. So from then to now, at 50, I'm 71 kilos strong and I play football with 25-year-olds. Hope you're playing tomorrow. But I'm loving this.
I am dreaded. Instead, it's football and CrossFit. So I'm dreaded.
No, it's going to be a blast. But so just why devil circuit? So what happened was, I used to work in Dubai. I was head of sales for a leading systems integrator, and I was managing the sales for Middle East and Africa for all the telcos. great money, great life. I had and I used to love cars, by the way, cars and fancy watches, and because these were things that you can hide behind, right? You can hide your weight and all the other physical sort of challenges. That okay, I drive this car, I live here, I have this watch. But then I was not happy. So I had the opportunity of coming to India to head sales for India as well. So my organization got acquired by a company in Bangalore called iGate. And there were 100 of us that were given a retention bonus to stay back. And I was given additional responsibility, came back all excited because India looks very nice when you're outside, especially when you've been away for a long time.
And how long you were out?
14 years.
14 years, wow.
Yeah, so when I came back...
so you must have gone in your late 20s?
Yeah, so I came back at 39.
Okay.
So 25, 26 is when I left. When I came back, I quickly realized that, I can't see myself doing this because I'm not really happy coming back home every single day. And I spoke to my wife saying that, look, I'm going to turn 40 in a couple of months and I am miserable because it's not the money. The money is not the driver anymore. But I want to do something in sport because I grew up in a boarding school. And for me, my memories of the boarding school, which is, many, many decades ago, are still very fresh in my mind. When we played this match and we scored that goal and we beat this team and we beat that team, it makes you feel like alive. And I said, I want to do something in sports. So we thought that, there was an opportunity at that time. But we wanted to keep away from professional sport. Because, in India, if you want to build something which is under a conventional sport, you need the blessings of some federation or the other. Luckily, I had run an obstacle race in the US as an early adopter, many, many years ago, a race called the Spartan race.
Yeah.
And I said, look, why don't we create a variation of this in India? And we'll give it our own flavor. And
yeah, so I'm just curious. So is this coming to you late 30s? You're saying, like almost early 40s?
Yeah, so I started. Yeah, so 39 is when I quit. I started the company, and we got rolling. And
so around, let's say 40s
yeah.
when you started. So that's not a typical age when these days you would see someone starting up. Right?
Yeah.
People are almost folding up by now.
Yeah.
And the idea of getting into sports. Is that because that was a time when you were personally transforming yourself in your health?
No, I wasn't. I mean, the thing is, I had not started on that journey. I wasn't as fit as I am today.
Okay.
I mean, today I may be 5 decades young, but I felt...
But how did that idea strike upon?
Well, I think, when you do something where you're getting people to come out and play out of their own comfort zones and telling them to punch above your weight and do more than you can, a lot of people look at you and say, what, walk the talk.
Yeah.
Have you tried your own medicine?
Yeah.
And because I became the MC and I'm speaking to people, I'm also, looking at myself and saying, what, I got to also change because otherwise no one's going to take me seriously. So that's how, that journey started, that personal journey started.
You're perhaps the most underrated MC in the country today. People who are watching, you have to go and experience it by yourself by actually attending one of the events, and you will see the energy bomb.
What Dilip, one good thing I think is this season, I think because of the sort of the change of social media consumption from, because we started the Devil Circuit after 3 years of, COVID, right? And when we were doing it earlier, we were mostly on Facebook, and Facebook today is for dinosaurs.
For us.
But now Instagram
That makes me feel old now.
yeah. So, but for the first time, I started getting called out. That how much do you charge, right? And now so people are thinking I'm an MC, which is
That's
great.
a testament to your skills.
and I actually this season I had calls from 2 corporates who wanted me to come and take a sort of a motivational talk with their leadership.
Wow.
So I think that is hopefully changing.
Walk the talk coming up, right? I mean, you're expressing yourself about who you are, and that's showing up to people.
But what the thing is, I'm not. And I'm being very honest, the reason I think I was able to change myself and also motivate other people was because I honestly got inspired by the people who I saw at my races, So from the very moment, when we started, it was always about, hey, welcome to the tribe. Welcome to the tribe of devil slayers, right? Welcome to the day when you go home with bruises. Welcome to the day of extraordinary. That messaging has remained consistent and constant from the first race to now. But when I started looking and I said, hey, can I ask you guys, you're running your first race. Is there anyone within the group who has a story to share? And the stories that I got blew my mind, and I was inspired by these guys. So for me, I have always said to every sponsor who says, who's your brand ambassador? I said, my tribe is the brand ambassador.
That's very powerful.
Yeah, because I said, when you hear these people and when you see them in real life, you'll get goosebumps. These are ordinary people working in corporate careers or being, running their own sort of day-to-day lives, but doing this amazing race and doing so much more. And, this year, for example, the guy who blew my mind, right, and I think he's the strongest runner I've ever met, is a person called Ajay Lalwani. He's 28 years young. He's a national swimming champion. He's also has a record for cycling 3,500 kilometers across India. But and he's now run the Devil Circuit in 5 races on the trot. And he said he's never going to miss any race going forward.
Is this the first time he's winning?
No, what is cool about him? He's my first visually impaired runner.
Oh, amazing.
He has zero eyesight.
And you didn't know about that?
I didn't know about that. So he just reached out to me on social media that this is who I am. Can I come and participate? I said, come, but you need some. He said, no, I have a bunch of friends who help me with whistles. They guide me, go fast, go strong.
You don't have a category for...
No, I didn't have a category and got me thinking, and we're working on something, hopefully, with you guys, which we'll announce soon. But he came to his first race in Pune and I was blown away by his courage. Because, the moment I saw him is that same very moment I remembered the person I met in the gym who said, I'm training to run my first Devil Circuit and I'll come next year. And I'm saying, look at the difference in courage and look at the human spirit here. So what I did was, because I'm the MC and in the Devil Circuit, what happens is people run in batches, right? So every 20 minutes, 400 people start off. And so I told the waves after, Ajay, that you're going to pass this visually impaired runner. And when you pass him, scream that war cry, right? And that war cry, booyah, right? Means exuberance, right? And people are screaming that war cry when they cross him and they're clapping for him. And at the finish line, I got a bunch of around 50 runners to wait, for him. So the last obstacle is called brain freeze. You got to climb up 15 feet, get into a slide, and in 3 seconds, you're in 15 tons of ice cube. It blows your mind. Now imagine a visually impaired runner who has no idea what the hell is happening. He's just going on the instructions or, when he hears that whistle, he jumps in, it's 15 tons of ice cubes. He comes out, and I've got people lined up on both sides, and they're just clapping for him.
Wow.
And he starts crying at the finish line.
Technical briefing that what he's going to get into.
No, he had no briefing, nothing, right? So he was just running with 3 of his friends.
Wow.
And he started crying, and I gave him his medal because I was so blown away by this man, right? And I said, man, you won my respect for today and ever. And he said, sir, पहली बार जिंदगी में, and he doesn't speak that good English. He said, पहली बार जिंदगी में मुझे लगा कि मैं किसी को inspire कर रहा हूँ. Because people were clapping and whistling, and he said, I will never ever miss another Devil Circuit till I'm able to do every single obstacle in under 40 minutes.
Wow. So he's put a timing to himself.
Yeah, he put a timing to himself. He started training. He ran the next race in Mumbai. He ran the 3rd race in Jaipur. He ran the 4th race in Mohali.
So he's running all these.
Then he ran the last race in Delhi on the 19th of March, my 50th edition. And he did 11 obstacles out of 15, and he did it in 46 minutes.
Brilliant.
So when you say what inspires me, these guys inspire me. Yeah. And I have so many more stories. It's just simply unbelievable.
Yeah.
So real people have real impact. And that's what I want to talk to marketeers, especially, when I see, for example, I'm a skeptical 50-year-old, right? When I see somebody and say, try this protein shake or try this supplement or wear this, okay, so-and-so must have been paid, X amount for this. But when I hear this story, pure, honest story of someone like us,
sure,
who had the misfortune of either losing a limb or being born without eyesight, but being full of life. I mean, these people blow me away, right? And I think that's how the rest of India will also react, right?
Yeah. Also, I think the times are changing now. I think the times where we live, hopefully, I think that's where I see people around me has that school of thought that, people are able to resonate more with others who are, let's say average Joes, like people like you and me, right? We don't come from that privileged background, or we're not celebrities of any kind. Okay, we may have, you for sure have, I don't know, 1,000 times more followers on Instagram than me, and I have to learn the trick. How do you get there? But it's easier to connect and resonate with people like such than to, let's say, a big movie star or a cricketer of sort, because there is a notion that okay, they're being paid to do that and that's their job. But these are people who live an ordinary life, who may not have the privilege of having a great trainer or access to supplements or all that stuff, but still trying to do that because there is some zing in them and they're trying to prove all to themselves. Right? I mean, they're not doing to chase a certain.
It's for them, It's you versus you, right?
Yeah.
It's for them. It's just for them to sort of uplift the life that they have, and enjoy every single moment.
Yeah.
And so for me, in these last 10 years, these guys kept getting me to raise my own bar. Right. But one of the things I realized that what is also very, very important, because, health and wellness is, the subject here, is that if you truly want to get fitter and stronger, that journey has to be fun.
Yeah, sure.
It can't be a chore that, okay, boss, at 6 baje, the trainer is waiting and he's going to, make me do this workout, which I hate, right? I'm going to wake up the next morning hurting everywhere and demotivated. So I think that,
I think that's a first world problem, because we have to understand, we have to accept it that, getting up in the morning, going through that process of physical fitness is a sadistic activity, right? No one wants to get up in the first thing in the morning and go through that pain. But there are only this 0.X% of people who are wired, like people like you, who would just wake up in the morning and know they have to get to hit the gym or they'll go to the run. 99.999% people can't, right? So it has to be, and that's, I think, that's one area why at Rainmatter Health, we are excited, because staying healthy and fit should not be boring. It should not be top down told to you, and it's too late when a doctor comes and tell you that, look, you have to track this many steps, or you have to do this, but then it becomes a drag. If you somehow make it part of your daily lifestyle, and you will only make it part of your daily lifestyle when it's fun. And anyone who's trying to build solutions around that, I think it's a great opportunity for us as a collective to support them. And also, I think it's a great solution for people to adopt to such mechanism, because there's no better way to stay healthy and fit than having fun.
No, I think I completely agree with you. But I just, on one element, I would just slightly, differ on that view that, you're like, I'm one of the X% of people who are wired. I think.
Oh, you say you are not wired?
No, I'm saying I am wired today.
Yeah.
I am wired. But the reason, I am who I am is because, I'm loving the place I'm in, where I am today. Yeah. And I think if you just nudge people into a sort of a position where they can see some real change, where they can see that, hey, you know what, I can run 5 kilometers, I can do an obstacle race, I can do the devil circuit, I could do a half marathon, I could train for an OCR, I could, do an Ironman. Right. When people see, physical change, strength improving, they themselves, become the sort of the master of their own destiny. Then they cut down on the smoking, the drinking, and, and eating after, 9 o'clock, because you can give them the best tools, the best content, the best trainers. But if that belief doesn't come, or that sense of, excitement, doesn't come out, it won't happen, So I think, so for us, for example, the idea now is to try and build platform, this one platform to have multiple sort of IPs where India gets to see how much fun they can have by being active, whether it's running an obstacle race, or there's a new IP that we're launching, which is going to be the sport of fitness racing, which is going to be the first of its kind in India, but something which will test you in your core, right? And someone like you would do like remarkably well in that.
I knew that was coming, and so I have to kind of sideline all my marathoning activities and really train myself, because when you gave me a teaser about it last time when we met, and I really got excited. And the name sounds I mean, the name itself will give you some kind of goosebumps. And I mean, perhaps we are not revealing here, but when you do that official name revealing, that's something to look forward to for sure.
Yeah, no. So while because the Devil Circuit, for example, is a mass property, right? So Delhi, which was my 50th edition, which was a one-day event this year, sadly because of COVID, we were not sure the kind of response we'll get. We were blown away with the kind of people who signed up. Not only did we get new runners to come and run the Devil Circuit for the first time, but people who'd come to run their 10th race. So we took something which was a bucket list item, made it into something which people want to run again and again. Ended the season with 39,000 runners, and are now super confident that we're headed towards becoming the biggest running platform in India, which is not a one-day race, which is a pan-India property, happens in multiple places. But where we want to be is attract the most number of participants in any running format. So the goal is to get 100,000 runners running the Devil Circuit races annually within the next 36 months. But here the kind of runners are, the 16-year-old, the 70-year-olds, the casual runners, the serious runners, but a large chunk of them are coming for the fun aspect to test themselves. So that aspect is taken care of, so this new IP, that the fitness racing IP that we're looking at doing, is about appealing to the hard out. I keep coming and pointing it to you because like the hard out, like the guy who wants to, and I'm going to, hopefully do a podcast after you run your first race that, how well did Dilip do? To come out and show, boss, are you the fittest or the strongest in India? And that'll be like a media property where we give away a substantial amount of cash prize. And even today, by the way, in the Devil Circuit, we give away the biggest prize in sport in India. We give away one Maruti Suzuki Swift to the male runner and one to the female runner.
And I was watching their videos, and I mean, people should watch. There's a YouTube channel Devil Circuit has got, and they've profiled the winners of past editions. It's a game changer for these people who are coming from all different walks of life. I saw someone from Indian Administrative Services, an ex-military guy, people from absolutely different, diverse walk of life, coming and actually putting out the emotions to say that that car meant so much to them and their family. I remember watching this video when this guy who's an ex-military, I think Sukhchand
Singh, yeah.
He said, when he took the car back to his home, to his village, there they actually finally he could prove that he has done something worthwhile, and the vehicle means so much to them. So I think. It's. I mean, for
also,
sure.
just to add to with Sukhchand, right? Because I've seen him from close quarters for the last many years. He came in not sure of what the format is, not sure of how well he'll do. Can he win it? Can he not win it? From coming second or third in the first season that he ran to going out and winning it, gave him the confidence today of now dreaming and planning to becoming an Olympic athlete.
I saw that.
Sadly, he can't wait till 2028, but he's now giving the qualifiers for the 400 meters to be part of the Indian Olympics team.
Oh, wow.
And I wish him all the very best because he's one of ours, and I hope he represents India in the Olympics.
No, it's just so amazing because I think that idea of identifying yourself as an athlete, I think there's a notion not just in our country but worldwide that look, you have to go through that pedigree of certifications or getting attached to a federation. But once a normal person, an average male, female, identify themselves as an athlete and imbibe those characteristics and personalities, it brings the universe of change in your, not just in your identity, but your mental framework towards your life. So I, for that matter, because I do running, I've manifested that thought and I keep internalizing myself week on week that I'm an athlete. I may not have this aspiration to qualify for Olympics, for sure. I don't have the credentials and way too old for that now, but that doesn't matter. Right? An athlete is someone who appreciates and respects their body. They don't abuse it. They respect people around themselves. They're very disciplined. There's a certain framework of persistence, and they're doing all of that for yourself.
True.
Right? I mean, like you said, these are thousands of people coming every city year after year, not to go out and there's no
mainstream media as such who is kind of putting it out there, but they're doing all to get that finisher medal, go back home and tell these 5 people in their family that, look, I've done something.
Because, the thing is, like, you keep hearing this, these big fancy sports brands now talk about it, which I agree. When I've been talking about participative sport from the very beginning, that, we keep ignoring the market in India for participative platforms, right? So, which are gender neutral. Going and playing cricket, in the colony and going and playing football is still gender biased. What about doing something which is disruptive and can appeal to everybody? An obstacle race or something on the new IP that we're launching, the sport of fitness racing, is something that you and I can actually, without the skill of knowing how to hold a bat and throw a ball, kick a football, we can actually compete and participate and excel. And I think that is a space that we want to be the biggest in India. We want to capture as many of the diverse backgrounds as we can. And that excites me, that because life is not a spectator sport anymore. And especially for us, we're a very young nation. The average age of the runner at the Devil Circuit is 27. Sadly, when you look at them, and I'm all apologies to my tribe of devil slayers. When you look at them, they don't look 27, So, but I know for a fact that after the first race, right, after getting that medal, a large number of them, have started off on this journey of becoming fitter and stronger. For them, it's a personal challenge ki, I did 11 obstacles, next year I'm going to do 13. This year I did it in 55 minutes. Next year I'm going to do it in 40 minutes. They're setting themselves this particular goal and target. And I think that's the reason why you see a large number of them coming back year after year. And for them, it wasn't, perhaps it started off as a bucket list item, but now it's like an annual experience that they can't miss.
Yeah, for sure. No, and this is exciting, I think. And I think what excites me more is that this is a business, right? I mean, you're not doing it not for profit. And one of the reasons why we decided to sit together and talk about this is the idea of this platform, Rainmatter Health, also is to kind of build that platform to a lot of other people to understand that we need solutions to make people healthy and fit, and there are different kinds of solutions, and more people should come. Of course, there are people building in finance and retail and all, but considering the data, what we have, the poor data, sad data we have about the unhealthy Indians, I think more people need to be aware that this is a area and this is the right time. I mean, there's awareness, there is an ability to pay for different type of solutions, and people should build, right? So there's a business side of it, which I would want to talk now, because the audience would be potential investors. It could be your potential customers, HR heads of companies who are thinking, when should I and how should I call Adnan, which towards the end of it will leave the coordinates, and consumers who are kind of tickling their minds that when the race is happening, when the next edition, which we'll probably tell at the end. So let's talk about the business. So how big is the business now?
So, if I just look at the last 7 years, we've done sort of 100 crores in revenue. Sort of cumulative, right? So it was something which was hugely impacted because of COVID. You couldn't do any events outside, and because of which we decided that we needed to segue into some sort of tech to keep the conversations alive, to keep also the opportunity of connecting with a lot many more people who may not be aware of the Devil Circuit, but essentially through a platform which gets you active, they can come and be part of your experiences.
So you're thinking right now you have a physical presence, and now you're trying to build a digital presence.
Yeah. So for us, the next 3 years is about creating multiple IPs, participative in nature, which appeal to a different sort of customer audience, right? So a different profile, right? So one is, of course, the person who wants to come for fun, come to the Devil Circuit, and you want to take part in a competitive category, of course you can. But 80% of the runners are corporate professionals who are coming in for the experience and the thrill of it. Where we want to be in the next 3 years, we want to launch, 3 distinct IPs. 2 would be media properties, which essentially focuses only on the individual living in a small village in Hisar, or living in Bangalore or Hyderabad, who comes together and competes in this format, which is not as complicated as the CrossFit Games, because if you want to take part in the CrossFit Games, which by the way today is a $5 billion property, you need to be someone who knows how to do CrossFit, right? Because there is few technical movements that you can't just pick
and you
up.
have to train. I mean,
you have to train.
That's something. I'm not sure if the CrossFit events, do they have an amateur category as well?
Yeah, so CrossFit is like open to everybody, right? So you and I everybody can sign up. So one is of course the form of training, and the other is the CrossFit Games, which is a participative platform valued at $5 billion because it is open to everybody and anybody around the world.
Okay.
So we want to basically capture that space in India, but we want to launch 2 distinct IPs, which target only the Dilip and the Nitin Kamats of the world who are fit and who want another bragging element to talk about.
Okay, so Nitin, your name just got dropped, so make sure you start your training because Adnan is coming for you
tomorrow morning. So that's the idea, and of course, and then I want to do something which is very close to my heart: launch a special games. For people like Ajay Lalwani, for people who are blade runners, for people who lost a limb, people with special children. I believe that space is not to make money, but to address a need and give back to society. Because I've met a lot of parents who did come to me and said, "Look, we want to do something for our kids. We feel very selfish coming and having fun, and our children can't enjoy it." So we want to build a company like this where we do something for society. We also try and target the ultra fit individual in a media format, and we keep scaling the devil circuit. But what we want to do is we want to have an umbrella on top, which allows for people to first looking for such events. So we have a ticketing platform that we're going live with, and that ticketing event is only for active sport.
Okay.
So you want to go.
So that's a SaaS platform.
Yeah, it's a SaaS platform that we've created. So it's basically, hey, you want to take part in an obstacle race, a marathon, a triathlon, a duathlon, a swimming event, anything to get you active. That's where it is, right? Okay. It's a very sort of a purist play.
So it's for organizers?
Yeah, for organizers. Okay. So and the reason is, when I, for example, were to use third-party platforms, right? I won't mention them, but the problem I would get is that they would charge you for mailers to sending to their database, and the response would be abysmal, right? This below average. And after a couple of years, we realized that, 90% of the data is data of people who are going and watching a movie, watching a play, etc. These are people who are not interested. This is not the right demographic or the right TG. Yeah. But so we created something for ourselves. We used it this year.
Problem statement. So you built up.
So but because we're on this side as an event organizer, we know the pain areas. So we know the issues that event organizers face: bib distribution, signing the waiver form, getting their photographs uploaded, 10 other things that communication, please come on time, etc., etc. You got to use 3 different platforms to service that one customer. So we've created something that we've been using ourselves, and now we want to use it and expand it to the rest of India. Event organizers who are keen on targeting that particular audience. So, and all of this is surrounded by our health and wellness platform, because again, a large number of runners would come and say, "Adnan, I had a great time. I could only do 10 obstacles, but how do I improve my upper body strength?"
Sure.
So initially I would say, okay, go join this studio or that studio. And I realized that even though my community is strong, they're very loyal, and they are listening to me and they are going wherever I'm asking them to do. So why push this captive audience anywhere else, and perhaps just use them to build, within my own ecosystem. Because then I can say, hey, Dilip, by the way, you're the CHRO of XYZ company. You sent 3,000 people this year. Why don't you use this platform and send 6,000 people next year, right? Because a large number have said we couldn't do it, or we wanted, to be in better shape to do it. So that's the ecosystem, or that's the business that we want to build.
So these are different. So what I get is, so one is the event side of the business.
Yeah, which is the participative operation side,
which is the core as of now.
Yeah, right? which is always going to be the core. Right. The sort of the tech, like we spoke about, is
and you're building a tech layer on top of it, where you're building these content-driven apps where people can consume and.
So the app is called Bunker Fit. So we went live with the app. It's got 100,000 downloads. Wow. It's got a decent rating on Google Play Store, 4.4 star. We still have around, with no money.
So this for end consumer, they can just go to the app store.
They can download it. And initially, this is something that I was thinking of before COVID, that I need to extend the conversations I'm having with, Dilip after the race, because I will see him 10 months later, 11 months later, when he knows, okay, the race is happening in 2 weeks from now. How do I continue that conversation? And even on social media, he's just going to sort of space out, right?
Yeah.
So we started working on something like this. And we said, we'll do something which is vernacular.
Okay.
So we built this in English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu.
Oh, wow.
4 languages. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and then I said, okay, you know what?
And why was that? Because you knew your audience were coming from these.
Yeah. So like, I'm an ignorant North Indian, right? I mean, I fell in love with South India, by the way. Every South Indian city is a city I would love living in. And the first time I actually got to interact with the beautiful part of India was when I started doing my races. Yeah. When I would come to Chennai, when I go to Hyderabad, when I go to Bangalore, I would see people who may perhaps work for a leading consulting firm, whether it's a PwC or a KPMG or a Cognizant or whatever it is. But I would see them talk in the language of comfort.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So they're either speaking in Kannada, they're speaking in, Tamil, they're speaking in, in Telugu, right? So, which is in Hyderabad. And I realized that, look, these are people who perhaps have lived abroad. These are people who have the ability to go anywhere in the world, right? Or they can download any app that they want. But when I look at the content that we're producing, and a large number of players in India are throwing a lot of money, it's all English.
Yes.
So why is that? So I said, why not give it sort of that spin of preferred language? So you can choose your language. Number 2, I said, you know what, make it interactive. Has to be fun. Otherwise, it's going to be boring. So right before the production of the content, the lockdown happened. And I had a year before taken on this exercise as part of this sort of very selfish motive of, taking some money from the company and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go and explore what's out there in the rest of the world. And I would go to multiple cities, whether Dubai, Singapore, London, New York, Boston, to just see the different studios. What's happening where? Barry's Boot Camp, Orange Theory, Knockout, Dog Pound. And I would go to these classes and I was blown away, not by the sort of unique format of training, but by the fact that most people in these studios were just average Joes. Right? But they were like so excited about every class. You could see that, if they stuck around, there will be real change. And I started looking at, okay, how do I sort of get inspired and create my own workouts? So created my own workouts.
Wow.
And then I was going to give it to a trainer and say, okay, Mr. Trainer, please, do a pilot and see what the response is. Multiple trainers. And when COVID happened, and I was speaking to a friend of mine, he used to work with Adidas. Now he's with a mobile company. And he said, look, I've been following you on Instagram and I love what you do and I follow some. Why don't you do it? Right? And I said, but who will watch? He said, just put it on the Devil Circuit channel.
I saw that.
Yeah. So I did.
Every morning you're going up to the terrace.
6 p.m., 30 minutes, no weights, no equipment, 300 calories. And at peak, I had 130,000 people log in one class.
Brilliant.
From 20 different cities. And it was just mind blowing because
what was this moment? Like so is this your way to validate that, look, I have to now go out and build that digital asset of mine? Or is it just to kind of give people a teaser that, look, this is what you could expect if you had to come to my... So how were you kind of...
I did the sort of test myself because, I didn't have the opportunity of screening any trainers. We were all in COVID. Because I wanted to see, will people do this training or not? Will they come online and do it? And I actually saw real engagement. I saw traction. If you see my old videos on Facebook, there are actually, 20, 30, 40, 50 comments. I have a comment from a mother in Bombay saying, I'm doing this class with my son who's in the other room, and that son would reply back to me on Instagram. The mom would reply to me on Facebook. Right? And amazing, right? So people and gave me the confidence that, look, if you make training fun, people want to get fitter and stronger. And I guess because of COVID, people also started taking life a little more seriously, health more seriously, right? We need to get our act in place. And I think that gave us that confidence. Okay, as soon as, we had the opportunity, we shot the content, we put out the pilot release of our product, got 120,000 downloads. Ran out of money very quickly because we didn't charge initially any money from anyone because we just wanted to see the response. And I guess the best way to see if your content is sticky, give it for free and see the kind of engagement and traffic that you get. And At peak, we had 16 minutes average engagement, on our app, which is now down to 8 minutes. Because
So these are live classes or?
No, not live classes. So we basically, the way we did this is we did a voiceover.
Okay.
So we did a little smartly where we had different exercises and we basically stitched together classes.
Okay.
And the reason why I did that is because, when you're doing a class and you're watching somebody on screen, you're not actually just watching them, you're hearing them.
Yeah.
More than watching them, you're hearing, hey, and you can't obviously personalize the name, but hey, come on, guys, let's do this. Today is terrible Thursday. We're going to be working on our legs and, you persist for 21 days and you see a change, etc., right? You get the voiceover to be done in such a way that it's engaging. So while you're working out, you're hearing that and your language of choice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I've got like 4 different.
Comfort language, yeah.
Okay, I can hear it in Tamil, I can hear it in Telugu. So now people are listening to it. So that gave me validation, like, look, while a lot of people are throwing a lot of money and building some very, very cool apps, I think what they're missing out on is not finding that sauce of how to keep it fun. So that's where we were. And then, COVID opened up, the devil circuit came back. And then the last 6-7 months have just been
So now you
crazy.
have the digital version, the app.
Yeah,
and you're back full force.
So we have the app, we have the ticketing. We have the devil circuit
is it
back.
live? Ticketing is live?
Ticketing is live. We use it ourselves.
But it's open for people.
No, not as yet. But by the end of this month, we'll open it out.
Okay.
Then we've got the new IP that we're working on, which we briefly spoke about, which we want to launch in the month of June. So it's a packed calendar. So anyone out there, who's looking for a real career in sport, in the ability to, be part of a company that is going to impact lives, please reach out to me, right? Because we are looking for good talent.
And I can for sure say he's an outlier boss. If you visit his office, he's the only guy who kind of skews the average age. So he's for sure a guy you should probably spend some time in your career to go and work with. That reminds me. So how big is the team now?
So we have, in total, we have around 32 people.
Okay, including your tech.
Yeah, so my operations team is around 16. My tech is lean and mean, 9 people. So that's how the spread is.
And you have a co-founder?
Actually, she's more the CEO and the founder, Zeba, who's my better half. She's the one who does most of the work, all the work. I just
But you hog the limelight.
I hog the line. I'm sitting here on a sofa being interviewed by you, but she's probably still in the office, working long
So how's
hours.
it having the life partner also a business partner?
Very difficult.
Is it? Zeba, you're not making his life.
No. Zeba and I in agreement. This is the last business we're doing together.
So
Absolutely.
This should probably last for long then.
Well, that's the reason why it lasted this long. Because, and I was sharing this as a joke when I think I met a couple of people and I said, look, if I was not married to Zeba, this business would have folded because, we created something disruptive which didn't exist in India. And we were very clear we didn't want to be an events company. And when you don't want to be an events company, you want to be a company that is building IP.
Where did you get that? I'm sorry, I'm just curious on that point. How did you get that clarity that, because for me, it's a very thin line in terms of what you do and the way you put you're not an events company, because essentially you're putting out a magnificent event which people have to come and experience. So what was the train of thought when you said you're not going to be an event company but an IP driven? I don't think many people understand this. So can you double click on that?
So an event company is one that does a marathon for you this Sunday, a wedding for somebody the next Sunday, an obstacle race for someone, the month after, right? But they do it with a tactical mindset. Okay, what is the amount of money you want to give me, Dilip, right? Give me $100, I'll spend 60, save 40.
Yeah.
That's a typical events company. An IP-led company like us, or a company that wants to create experiences that outlive me. That's my one goal objective, that after I've gone, I want all the IPs to be around, loved by millions of people. So from the very beginning, it has to be larger than life.
So that's your product.
So the product had to be like, so for example, we did the first devil circuit of all places in Ludhiana. Not
That was your
because
first?
that was my first.
How did you choose Ludhiana?
I didn't choose Ludhiana. I chose Gurgaon, and I went and pitched this to a marketeer in with a leading developer who's now, by the way, working in Bangalore. I won't mention him. And he went to the best business school. He was an engineering student in IIM. And I thought I gave a decent presentation, right? Even though I didn't have any reference. And there was no reference in India that, okay, you know what's an obstacle race and what are you trying to create? What is this devil circuit?
And this is like way back.
Yeah, it's 10 years ago, right?
Okay.
So, and he just, I poured my heart and soul into that presentation of mine, and I thought, I deserved another chance, at least a callback. But it was like a straight no. And when I was hearing myself, when I was making that pitch, I said, look, if I was in his place, I should definitely give this a try. So I didn't take no for an answer. I found a way back. And this is where, that 40 years of experience or 40 years of existence on the planet comes handy, where, you don't want to take no, and you use your network to find somebody who's, 3 levels up. So I got a chance to present to the chairman of that company, which is a company called IREO, which is a big builder. And I went and pitched to him without telling him that, your CMO has said no.
Okay.
And he says, I love it. We must do it. And I said, sir, you'll be the first in India. And I said, we should do this in Gurgaon because this is where all the corporates are and it's going to be a massive, massive event. And he was about to pick up the phone to call his CMO. He says, I'll go get so-and-so to call and close out the deal. I said, there's just one problem. He said, no. He says, why? I said, he thinks India is not ready for it. He says, no. I think you're right. India is ready for something like this. So that's how we got the first one.
And how?
And it was supposed to be in Gurgaon. And sure enough, somehow or the other, he was given a different sort of pitch leading to the event. So just 3 weeks to the race in Gurgaon, 4 weeks leading to the race in Gurgaon, I get a call from the CMO saying that I got some good news and bad news. So I said, okay, what's the bad news? He said, the bad news is it's not happening in Gurgaon. So I said, okay, what's the good news? He said, it's happening in Ludhiana. so I said, I don't speak a word of Punjabi. I've not been beyond Chandigarh. I think that's where Shatabdi stops. He said, no, there's another Shatabdi that goes to Jalandhar and you can get on that. So I said, but my KRAs, he said, no, we'll change the KRAs. I said, my revenue model will go for a toss because, you asked the question about business. And I was very clear that I'm going to be very upfront with all my partners, whether today or tomorrow, that you got to pay for the title rights. You got to pay for an associate category. I don't want any barter associations. I don't want your free t-shirt. I don't want your free water, and I'm going to create this on the lines of the CrossFit games or, the High Rocks or, the Ironman event, right? That is my goal, right? And I think India is big enough to have their own IPs. So he says, no, don't worry. I said, but my revenue model goes for a toss. No other sponsor will come. He says, take it or leave it. So from selling, and this is just fresh off the boat, right? Back in India, selling $500,000 contract, that was a minimum ticket that I would pick up to setting up, and by the way, hopefully he's hearing this podcast.
Yeah.
This individual who runs a page called I Love Ludhiana.
Okay.
And he also has a bakery, Hot Breads.
Okay.
And reached out to him on Facebook because at that time there was Facebook. And I said, look, I need some help. And he says,
How did you find this guy, I Love Ludhiana?
Just Googling, searching, I just found I Love Ludhiana. At that time, I think he had 25,000 followers, and I said, okay, what, can I come and speak to you? And he said, look, it's a crazy concept. I don't know how many people will pay you to get, kicked up their backside. Why will they do this? So I said, yeah, look, I'm here. I got 3 weeks. So he says, and I think he took pity because, he had also been to a boarding school and I think he was studying somewhere in Sanar or Shimla somewhere. But I said, what can you do? He says, look, I can give you a desk and a chair in front of Hot Breads in a market called Saraba Nagar, right? At the age of 40, I'm sitting with a 20-year-old who's...
This for you to sign up for...
Yeah, selling tickets, So now people are walking by.
Because there was no online thing back then.
No, we had hoardings, etc. Online was also not,
There's no ticketing.
Yeah, there was no... ticketing was, I think, Book My Show was there at that time. But, sitting there, and you realize that, how important humility is, right? That arrogance and everything just goes out of the window. And it's either you swim or you sink, right? And sitting there and motivating my 20-year-old intern, my first employee, that, look, we'll do it. And, going to random strangers and saying, एंड आप ऑब्स्टिकल रेस भागोगे, ये क्या है, ये दौड़ है, नहीं दौड़ नहीं है, इट्स एन ऑब्स्टिकल रेस. अच्छा, नाउ एक्सप्लेनिंग द कॉन्सेप्ट, देयर इज नो रेफरेंस इन इंडिया.
Then anyone say ये तो पागलपंती है.
हाँ, so many people, they said आप पैसे भी लोगे, हमें भगाओगे, वो तो हमें free t-shirt there. I said nothing is free. I said there is no value for anything in life that is free. So, and leading to the event, we had, and I'm not kidding, Dilip, we had like 300 registrations, right?
That was the first event.
No, but yeah, we were like depressed that, how the hell will we make money? Because, and this is all my money, right? This is my money that I had saved working in the best Indian city, which was Dubai, tax-free, all of that just disappearing because no other sponsor came on board. Then what I did was that I cracked the code on print at that time, right? People still read newspapers, and newspapers in Ludhiana was very cheap. So Ludhiana Times, the full page ad was 10,000 rupees.
Oh, okay.
So I found out who are the influencers in Ludhiana, because when you're in a small town and when you're in a small money town, everyone knows everyone, right? So Mr. Mittal also, by the way, came from Ludhiana, right? The Airtel.
Yeah, Sunil Mittal.
Yeah. So I found out, these X number of people, right? These 6 people, and I went and pitched to them, and I said, look, Javed. So Javed, thank you so much, by the way. He runs I don't know if he still runs it, but at that time he ran a motorcycle group called Tire Burners.
Okay.
And you have to have a bike worth 10 lakhs or more to be part of that group.
Part of the group.
Right? So I said, okay, Javed, I'm going to make you famous. I'm going to put you in this Ludhiana Times and say, Javed is going to the Devil's Circuit. Are you coming?
Oh, wow. That's smart move.
Yeah. And then, so that generated that curiosity. And on the last day, we had 550 registrations.
You could get the 200 folks.
Yeah. So we had 900 people come and run the first race in Ludhiana. It was completely beyond my expectation.
What was the expectation that how many people would turn up for your first event?
I was hoping if it was Gurgaon, I was very sure I would get around 2,000 people very easily, and I would get it at a higher price than I sold it in Ludhiana. But then one thing led to another. We got covered on a couple of news channels. I pulled a few strings, called a few journalists that I knew, and because it was a new concept, and at that time everyone was looking for that fresh element to cover. I got a couple of calls from other builders who ended up, another company ended up buying the title rights for the next 3 races. So that's how the sort of business sort of...
Tell me, Adnan, I mean, this is someone who is now well past the age of 40, trying to pull all this, trying to hustle, getting into a city where you have no connects and, going and doing stuff which for most part of your career, you've kind of elevated yourself. You were in that profile where, you were just an email away or call away and things would just happen for yourself, right? So doing all of that this to me is very unconventional because at this age, when you started, which was like 40, people won't do that kind of stuff, right? And you're getting into a business which is also doesn't come naturally to you in the sense that you were not sporty or athletic, which came naturally to you that, look, this is what I'm going to do, right? How many times did this moment cross you where you were saying like, oh yeah, done now, what the heck am I doing? Like leaving Dubai, luxury cars, very comfortable life, what the heck am I doing?
I think, to be honest, a few times.
Just a few times?
Yeah, a few times. Like, for example, this season, when we restarted,
Okay.
after 3 years. Post-pandemic. We had the first race in Chennai, and every year, for the last many years, I keep getting my calendar sort of completely wrong with the rains. Incoming monsoon, outgoing monsoons, and picked up this beautiful land bank, had a partnership with Prestige, and it started raining, 10 days to the event. And it kept raining every single day, while we needed, the time to create the course. And then somehow or the other, we had enough hours to put the course together. And then, when creating the expo, which is the main sort of area where people congregate, before and after the race, there I have third-party vendors who come in and, we put an LED screen, we hang a car vertically, we've got a dance stage, we've got all this whole, the food trucks and this, general sort of carnival that we set up. And there, it's like a slush pool. And people are walking around in gumboots, and the vendors are all, packing their bags and saying, I can't do it. The floor is sinking. I'm not putting my LEDs here. And we're working till 4 o'clock in the morning, and still the work isn't done. And coming back, and I'm talking to Zeba and my partner, and she's like, she and I haven't slept in 2 days, right? And that realization hits us. Yeah, I mean, should we do it? Should we not do it? I mean, why are we doing this? All of this pain. And I said, you know what? Even if this happens to be the last race, right? Even if tomorrow the people are unhappy with the experience and they write whatever horrible experience that they have on social, because social media can tear you today, right? Fine. Let this be the last race, but let's have fun doing it. That was my sort of one line to everybody on the team. I said, look, I know no one has slept. You're all amazing. The next 6 hours, let's have fun. Forget the stress. And I don't know, Dilip, what happened? I think, God is kind. There is someone up there who sort of likes us because the sun just came out, 6 o'clock onwards. People who came, and I was just praying that, I mean, we had 3,600 runners, okay? 3,600 runners is a lot, right? To come and run in a small space. And I was just praying that, look, when all my new sponsors, old sponsors are hanging around, that, let me have a few people who just come and say thank you. Because this is what I would go and talk to sponsors about, that, look, for the first time in your life, you will see people, and people think that, Indians don't have the decency to come and say thank you. I said, actually, you're completely wrong. If you touch them, they will go out of their way to keep thanking you.
Yeah.
That's the people we are. And I was just saying, let me just get 5-10 people so that, at least the pressure of listening to whatever lecture I'm going to get, because it doesn't look great, there's water, it's a slush pool. I said, let me just 5-10 people. At least 600 to 800 people must have come and hugged us.
Wow.
Selfie, photograph. And I kept saying, what, thanks so-and-so, he's responsible. So every sponsor that was there, I said, please, thanks so-and-so. And I was amazed because I think what people were waiting for was the devil's circuit. So that thought from 4 hours ago that, why am I doing this? Just sort of disappeared, right? Because that's where I get my strength from. When random people come to you and say, thank you, you've changed my life, or it's the best Sunday of my, entire year, or this day has changed me. When you hear such stories, which are unsolicited.
So this is your audience, is a customer who is paid for to experience your product.
He's paid to participate. He's
coming up and saying.
Yeah, he's coming with bruises. He's got some part of his skin that's basically, peeled off. But he's on a different high.
Yeah.
That sense of accomplishment, that sense of achievement is so difficult to describe. So when they come and give you a hug, right, unsolicited, and large number of them, by the way, now maybe because of this podcast, they'll know I'm the founder. They think I'm actually an MC. Right? So they just come in because they want to come and express gratitude.
Yeah.
And I think, that's the mojo that we've been lucky enough to get, which sort of allows us to, overcome or face the bad days much more easily.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. I come partly from the tech world, and there's this spoken rule there that your users should love your product, what you're doing, right? If people are not coming, even if it's broken, and if people are not complaining, that means people are not using, right? So, and if people don't come and say that product changed their life or helped created some movement in their life, whatever product you're creating, right? That's a testimony. It doesn't matter how kind of money you're creating, but people should love or they should hate, right? So it's fascinating that, a product like this, which is not like a tech where you have to install per se. I'm talking about the event.
It's an experience.
It's an experience, right? It's not like you double click and install and you experience. It's not metaverse. But now you go up and say, look, I paid for it and it's finally happening. That should be very heartening, right?
No, so these sort of, so these are the sort of takeaways for me, right?
Yeah.
So these are the things that I just grab with open arms, because this is what gives me the strength to just carry on, know, and I think we're just starting off, and I wish we had started off earlier, but,
No, it's a great time. So, you said 10th year, right? 30 odd people created accumulated revenue of 100 crore. I'm just so excited to see, what's next. And you've just dropped cues of what all you're going to build. You've raised venture capital, right? So you've raised some money.
So we raised a sort of a friends and family round. So, when we did so we were not very good at this, at this line of work. So we just met a couple of people who were participants in our races, picked up the phone and said, hey, you know what, would you be interested? And, few people jumped in. And initially when I started growing the business, we went from, 50 lakhs to 1 crore to 10 crores to 15 crores in revenue, right? So we thought we were building a real business, it's happening, right?
Yeah.
And people are paying us. And we would go to the big firms, right? I won't name them. And the first thing I would get is, so where's your tech? And I say, look, I'm creating something which is very powerful, because here I'm building my product on the strength of a community, and as I get to a position where the community gets bigger and stronger and more well entrenched, I can push products and services to them. So nobody understood it, so till I met, our man,
So it's maybe I think we could actually put it out, because by the time this comes out, I think the news should be public. So Rainmatter Health invested in Devil Circuit, and I'm just so excited. In fact, I should ask you, what's your story of how you raised money from Nitin? Because I've got a funny story how I did.
So I actually, so I had no idea he's been running my races, and I had never mined
He's
my
been a
data.
customer for many years.
Yeah, so he'd been running the races for the last 4 years, and I read actually Seema's blog, or it was on Nitin's this thing, and I got goosebumps because I always look for inspiration around me, first in my community and outside, and it was so honest and it was so impactful. I just had to ping him, and I went on LinkedIn. He was like second, third connect, and I just said, hey, you don't know me, I'm so and so, and I run the Devil Circuit. I'm creating a health tech platform called Bunker Fit, and I just read Seema's blog, and would love to connect because people like her inspire me. Something like that. I didn't even, there was no, and I think instantly I got a response back. Hey, I've been running your races for the last 4 years. I love what you do. It's the most fun I've ever had in anything physical outdoor. And here's my number, give me a call. So that's how the conversation started. And then, so I gave him this whole sort of blueprint for the next 10 years that, look, I want to create multiple participative platforms. I want to create my health and wellness platform, because a large number of people who come and experience platforms like this want to ask you, boss, how do I get fitter and stronger? You don't want to push them to, third party, non-related, platforms, because you don't even know what the hell those people are doing, and you don't even subscribe to it. So I'm generally someone who shies away from recommending anything unless I have tried it myself. So I said, that's my vision, that, over the next 5 years, this is what I want to do. So he says, okay, great. So we started talking, and he says, put everything under one platform. And so we got together, and I came with a deck.
Was that the first time you're creating a deck?
No,
like a pitch deck.
Like a pitch deck, yeah. But I came to meet Nitin, but they said, okay, you know what? Let's do a workout, and you take the class. So I created 3 workouts: pain, agony, and one more. And I send them the front of the workout, saying this is pain, and this is agony, and this is the third workout. So what's in behind each one, you'll only know once you've chosen one. So there was some suspense. So they chose agony. So we ended up doing this workout, and we played football, and we had breakfast, and there was no, we just had a chat, and that's it, and that's how basically things.
I'm not sure if and I don't know if you realized that you just dropped an can of spam for Nitin. Now that people know that all it takes is a message.
I don't know.
On
But
I think the point is that, look, if you're genuinely, I think and Nitin has told this earlier also, right? I mean, he's been first an enthusiast of what you've created as a product, Devil Circuit. And therefore it was easier. And I think that's the yardstick across in the venture world, that once you are a user or customer of the product and you have experience first, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like else, if you had to, I would assume, I'm not sure if how much of experience you've got, but if you had to go and knock the doors of typical investors and pitch them the idea of what you're building, it probably would have you taken much more.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. No, you're absolutely right. But, at my end, one of the things that we also took a conscious decision when, things were about to open and we were building this Bunker Fit app was that, let's work with people that we can relate with.
Yeah.
Let's work with people that we can, ping and reach out to for advice and help. Let's work with people who understand the larger purpose of what we're trying to do. Because I don't want to work with individuals who are investing in me for greed. I have no idea. And to be honest, I will of course put in everything I have to make sure that it is successful. This is probably the last 10 years of my, working career. And, but, things happen. But I want to work with people who are collective, in that sort of mindset, in that approach. Let's build something of impact, So my goal is not, how profitable can we be and how big a company, are we creating? My goal is, can I build a product that people love? Can I build a product that will outlive me? And everything else will follow. That's what I think, that, it was, if I go and say, okay, well, this is my number, then I'm setting, a cap to the true potential, So, like we started, I mentioned this very briefly, CrossFit games, right? So 2 friends got together around 10 years ago, or I think 14 years ago, 12 years ago, forgetting the exact timeline, got together in a barn and said, we all, do this CrossFit training. Let's have a competition.
Yeah.
So this guy said, I have a big barn here and let's basically, call as many people as we can and give away $500 and we'll call it the CrossFit Games. So they reached out to those guys and said, we're using your name and we're building this out. And first year, 300 people landed up in a barn. It's on YouTube. I'll share the link. And then after that, it was 800 people. And then the next year, Reebok came on board. The next year, something else happened. The 5th year, it became a media property. The 6th year, they opened it up to the world. So now if I'm sitting here in Bangalore, I want to take part in the CrossFit Games, they basically put out a challenge, right? Which is a qualifier.
You have to qualify.
You have to qualify. You have to upload a video. I think pay $10 or $20.
And it's not easy.
It's not easy, right? Yeah, you have to know CrossFit, right? But then now it became sort of aspirational for guy living somewhere in Karnataka to the guy living in America to boss. I want to compete in the CrossFit Games. I want to see, am I the strongest on earth?
Yeah, and it's amazing how that asset has gone out to build both as an participatory sport and a spectator sport, right?
Yeah.
And there are massive loads of people coming
to watch.
Just to watch.
Yeah. So I actually went, while I was doing this whole research, right?
And these athletes are huge.
Yeah. But they're also, some of them are very lean, you know, and
no, by the way, sorry, what I mean by huge, they're big personalities right now.
Yeah. They're big, no, absolutely.
Racers of the world. They're huge celebrities in their own
right. Right. So I actually, as part of this whole, pre-COVID, sort of desire to build more platforms, I went to a qualifier in Spain to see, how did these companies, what's happening there, so we did something on the lines of the CrossFit Games in 2016, as a boot, and called it the Boot Camp Challenge, because I'm not content with just creating one participative platform. There is so much more that you can do. So if the playbook has been created and the playbook says that you've done something reasonably well, there's no reason why you can't sort of segue and sort of extend it into different sort of variations to try and target that different audience, So working on that, the bootcamp challenge, the sport of fitness racing, I called it the bootcamp challenge, did it in 5 cities as a pilot, came to every city, went to all the CrossFit studios. I said, you want to be the fittest in Bangalore and win 50,000 rupees? Yes. Okay. You know what? Send me a team of 5 people with 1 woman in the team, and I will tell you the competition on the day of the event, and I had close to 600 people across 5 cities who participated, the fittest people I've seen. And they came in for the bragging rights more than anything else. It was insanely competitive, but it gave me the confidence that, look, as in when we have the ability to launch something like this is how we should do it.
So that was a proof of concept.
Yeah, we did that in 2016. Now, the reason why 2016 to now, what happened was, 2017, we segued ourselves into a television property for colleges. 2018, we segued into a media property for corporates. So we had a calendar which was packed, and we didn't have any progressive sort of fund giving us money. Hey, build it. We're giving you the next 5 years or the next 10 years. Build it out.
Now is a good time to.
Now is a good time.
Yeah. Of course, I'm so excited. So, what's the competition landscape in India? Like, whom do you think is a potential competition here? I mean,
So for me, see, a lot of companies jumped in. Me Too competitors came in because one of the things most Indians are very good at is back of the envelope calculations. Oh, so many people, so many cars, so much money. This is probably the cost. This is how much money they're making, which led to, I think, a dozen Me Toos that jumped in. And that's where this whole differentiation comes in between event and a experience. So for us, it was always larger than life. For us, it was always about 15 tons of ice cubes. For us, it didn't matter whether 1,000 people were running or there were 7,000 people running. It had to have that look, which meant an investment. But when you came in as a Me Too, looking at cutting corners and making money, you were first a Me Too devil circuit. You couldn't establish your own identity, right? And B, you didn't have the sort of patience, to survive the many ups and downs that you will face in India, right? Or in anywhere, right? Building
these guys are the.
So the Me Toos, so the Me Toos have come and gone.
Okay.
But the one company that I'm really, really sort of impressed with, right, is a company called ProCam. They run the Mumbai Marathon. They run
largely
they do road running traditional races.
Yeah.
I think they're two brothers. They're doing a great job. Love to hopefully get into that play at some point, but I think that is the only competition in participative sport in India.
Yeah, sure. At the scale what you are growing, and there's so much gets involved in terms of executing, right? One thing which was in my mind that, and God forbid this doesn't happen, but this is just kind of to balance, to understand the risk in this business, right? What would be the biggest risk which possibly can pull you guys down in this business? Like what can directly lead you to
I think another COVID lockdown. Another COVID lockdown for sure.
So first one should have totally crippled you.
Yeah, so it did. But the reason why we survived is because we were frugal. We were sensible. We didn't even let go of most of our team.
Wow.
For the longest time. Some of them left after a year because there was nothing to do. We tried doing stuff on social media, tried doing these classes, tried doing a lot of stuff to just keep people busy. But I think because we were sensible and we were frugal and we were not burning cash, we survived. But the opening or the reopening couldn't have come at a more opportune time because we were basically running on fumes at that time. But if you were to ask me another moment like this, yes, for sure, it would sort of break us. I guess emotionally more than anything else.
When I meet often founders, and now I get to meet all different kind of founders, one common thing which I've seen as a pattern is that one thing is talking or perhaps bragging. The other is essentially walking the talk. And we touched upon earlier in the conversation. Is it genuinely hard for a founder, regardless whether they run a fitness company or a health company or any type of company, to actually focus on their own health and fitness? Because, and this might rub shoulders to a lot of people when I say this, I've seen tons and tons of founders who are putting kind of bragging and giving all this gyan on social media, do this, that, but when it comes to their own health, they're far away, right? They need to really
I can't speak for others, but all I know,
what I'm trying to understand is it really hard? You're a founder now, you're founder of a large growing company. Is it really hard for you to kind of
if I want, I can excuse myself from taking 30 minutes out or 40 minutes out to go and work out or go and play, because I can always say I've got 15 meetings and 100 things open.
Because you're also doing the corporate meetings, you're also doing team meetings, you got to do everything.
I think if I've always been sort of very careful with my schedule, right? So I try and wake up early. So one of the things I've done successfully in the last 15 years is changed my habit. Earlier, I would wake up very late, rush into work, pick up a cappuccino and a ridiculous size, donut or something which I shouldn't be eating anyway. But now I wake up at 5:30. I come in to the gym when nobody's there. I put in 30-40 minutes, and most of the days when I finish my workout, when I go into the office, I'm already on a high.
Yeah.
And I still land up in the office before most people.
Sure.
So it's not I try and sleep by 10 or 11. So I don't know, it depends. But there were days when, for example, when we were stuck in the office and we had an event, in 48 hours. So no time to go back. So what I would do is because I had a young team, we would make teams. Okay, well, Dilip, this is your team. This is Adnan's team. This is Zeba's team. 5 people in a team. And the competition is basically we're going to do some of these workouts that we're going to do tomorrow, right? So we'll do burpees and push-ups and a bit of squats, etc. And we're going to do this by, keeping count. And then we're going to round the block. So the round the block was like a kilometer. And the guy who...
This is outside your office?
Outside the old office. This is not the, So we would do this like in the evenings because I knew that, look, I missed my workout. But if I do this on my own, it's not going to be that much fun. It's just me going out but because I have a young team and they're also stressed out. And the best thing about working out is, you release endorphins, right? You feel great, right? The stress is more manageable. It doesn't go away, but it's more manageable. You feel confident. So I would get into this habit where every Friday, on the Sunday before the event, we would say, okay, the workout is in the evening, and I would never hold back and say, go out there and grab a beer or do whatever you want. I mean, just first do the workout and then you're free,
Sure. Yeah.
So doing these little tweaks and changes in your lifestyle, right, for yourself and for your team, gives them also a direction that look, also, I have 2 young kids, right? So
How old are they?
So my son is 13 and my daughter is 16. So my son's in a boarding school, in the same school that I went to. So he's at the Doon school. And
do your kids show off how fit your dad? Their dad
I
is
don't
in
think
front
no.
of the other parents?
I know my daughter is embarrassed for sure. With my son, we have
Bar is
this.
very high then.
Yeah. So, but with my son, we have this sort of understanding because he loves playing sport. Is that when he gets to be in his 12th, which is a couple of years from now, he's probably going to be playing football for his school team, which is the Doon School football team. And annually we have this old boys versus the school team match. And so I've told him, or I've promised him, that my last football match would be when I captain the old boys team and I come and to the ground to shake your hands as captain of the school team. That'll be my last match. Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah, so that's our understanding, and we're working towards it. So let's see.
This is exciting, Adnan. I mean, I think one of the reasons why I was talking to Nitin, and he said that with the team that look. Each founder has a story behind them, and that's what we try to unpack today. The reason who they are and what they go out to build. Since our interest is largely around health and wellness, that's what Rainmatter Health is kind of designed around. The idea was to kind of sit down, have those conversations, and also create this platform for others to also think, and not just founders, but anyone to say that, look, they want to, about time for them to start thinking about their own health and fitness. I mean, everyone is doing their bit. But if there's someone who's trying to build something around that space, it's a great, it's a great category. And we have seen worldwide also, and within India also, there are large iconic brands which has been created. So what would you have to say to, let's say, an aspiring entrepreneur, who's kind of thinking about, look, health and wellness, should I do something here? Is this a category I can make money? Is this a category I can raise money? What is that you would want to tell these people?
This is a very interesting question, right? And I want to speak from my heart, right? So to everybody out there who's trying to build a business to make money, don't do it, because you will not enjoy that ride. Most people will end up losing money, and because those are stats, right, that you cannot deny.
Yeah.
But I would rather ask people who want to be entrepreneurs, do something that makes you happy. If you want to build something in health and wellness, or you want to build something that gets people active, but it makes you happy, gets you excited, then do it. Because, I have friends of mine who work in corporate careers who look at me and say, hey, you know what, you build something like this. We're thinking of quitting and we'll go into this line of work. And in 3 years, we'll get bought out by so-and-so and we'll retire with this amount of money. And they keep asking me this money question. How much, are you worth? That's not my driver. That's not my goal. That's not my objective. To be honest, this current present phase is the phase that I want to be for the next 10 years. I want to see my platforms, impacting the lives of others. It is so refreshing and so rewarding and so satisfying to hear people just come and say, you changed my life, So my, request to anybody out there who wants to do something, please do it for the right reasons.
Yeah, for the impact.
For the impact, and don't do it for the money. Because if you're chasing money, you're going to be chasing your tail.
Sure.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And I did that, because long before I left India, I was an entrepreneur at the age of 20, right? And I went broke at 25 because I was working with one objective in mind, and which was to retire by 30. It never happens. It never happens. Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. And this is something which has been a learning for me in the recent times. And I've been also designed and engineered that way as an entrepreneur, that look, because that's what is being out there, right? It's valuations, it's unicorn, and also that's the theme at Rainmatter Health. Something what we kind of, when we are trying to talk to companies and founders, is trying to understand that, look, what's the right reason you're trying to build it? Is it for impact? And is it some quick fix? Like health and fitness is possibly the last category you could ever build something for quick impact. Like, you're not going to make someone lose weight overnight. You're not going to make someone skinny overnight. And if you do that, there's something wrong, genuinely wrong in your product or solution. It has to be holistic. It has to be thought.
So that's on the product side. And secondly, I think what's also important is that you need to have fun.
Yeah.
You need to have fun as an entrepreneur doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Of course, the goal is to impact lives and build something that is around forever.
Yeah.
But if you don't get sort of excited enough when you wake up for 200 days in a year, because 200 days, you got to be like, oh gosh, I've woken up with like 3 cups of espressos, right? Without the espressos, right? I'm feeling that this is the day I'm going to, change everything, kill the world and win it for myself. If you don't feel that energy or that excitement, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Because there will be days when you are going to doubt, why am I in this? Why am I going through this pain and misery? Because that pain and misery will be around for everybody to overcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
absolutely in agreement to that. It has to be for the right reasons. Else, like you said, it will come and haunt you back, and you will have to then sit down and again ask, "Yaar, kyun kar raha hu main? Like, kis liye kar raha hu?" And which is something which obviously everyone goes through, but this would be that dark moment. When's the next edition, right? You've 10. So by the way, 50.
So 50 editions done, 10 years, 10 years.
When is the next one?
So you know what? Last season because of COVID and because of issues with not finding the right sponsors, or the old ones coming back they were taking forever. We could only announce a calendar on 15th of August. But what was amazing is that on the 15th of August, within the first minute of going live on our own ticketing platform, we sold the first ticket.
Wow.
Right? And we sold 110 tickets in the first 3 hours. And these are people who are buying participation tickets for events in November, December, January, February, March. You ask me, boss, are we playing football on Sunday? I'll tell you on Saturday. Okay? Right? Because I can't forward plan. But here, it goes to show that, for people, it's no longer an experience. It's no longer an event. It's an experience that they want to be part of. So this time, what we're trying to do is that this time we want to announce a season which takes us into not 8, but 10 cities.
Okay. So you're adding 2 more cities.
We're adding 2 more cities. And this time we want to do... so we're going into the major metros, and we've got this request to go into the Northeast and also to go to Kochi, which is what we're working on.
Okay.
And what we're also trying to do is, if we get the right sort of support from our sponsors, is to do a smaller variation of the Devil Circuit, 3 kilometers, 10 obstacles, and call it the Devil Circuit X in 5 cities.
Okay.
So a smaller race, a smaller sort of experience, but the same flavor. But gets people in places that we wouldn't go and host the big one like Indore or Dehradun, and saying, hey, you want to take part in the big race? Come to Delhi or come to Bangalore or come to Hyderabad. So that goes live hopefully October onwards.
Okay.
And then we've got the new IP that we want to launch in the month of July and August. We are going to go to 10 cities. It'll be a media property, so it'll be all on social. Very, very excited about that. The ticketing platform goes live for other event organizers like myself by the end of April. They're free to use it. It's got more features. It's cheaper, better than anything out there. By the way, yeah. And I'm saying it from a customer perspective.
It's been built out of your own pain.
Exactly. So that goes out end of April. And one of the things I want to do now, hopefully, is shoot more content, because that's something I understand. While being the person who did workouts, I also know how to get the best workouts done by the best trainers. So that's something I want to do and refresh my platform.
For the Bunk of It?
But for the Bunk of It. And because a large number of our customers have been sort of very patient with the content not being refreshed for a while. So we want to shoot that and put it out. And then,
Bunk of It, by the way, still is free, or is it behind a paywall?
It's behind a paywall now.
Okay.
It's behind a paywall, but it's a very nominal cost. It's
monthly subscription something.
Yeah, so it's $199 for 6 months. So it's extremely competitively priced. So so that's where it is, and hiring more people.
Yeah.
Because there's this other special games that we want to launch. It's a whole bunch of things, right?
Great. Excited. So where should people? Where would you want to direct? So if a corporate wants to take a meeting from you, how they should reach out to you? If a sponsor wants to sign you up for, I'm sure you're already booked, but if there are any spots available, and for those enthusiasts, the devil enthusiasts, the tribe,
Devil Slayers,
the tribe members, if people want to reach out to you, where would you want to direct them to?
So, I'm on Instagram, Adnan Adeeb X. I'm on LinkedIn for the corporates, for the sponsors. I'm basically even on WhatsApp. Find my number somehow. Just give me a call. I'm that one person who will answer every call.
Wow.
Right? Because coming from a sales background, you don't know who's calling.
Yeah.
So I would always call back. Even if I've not taken a call, I will always call back. So, I'm very, very accessible, very reachable. And yes, the best is yet to come, and super excited for the next 10 years.
Excellent. So, this has been super fun, Adnan. I was really energized the first time I met you at your office, and when I was thinking about this idea, I spoke to the team, and it was fairly unanimous that, look, we should first get Adnan on board. And
it's my first podcast, by the way, on this side.
I hope this goes well and you get also good feedback. It's a new
not for me, for you, right? Because it's your show, and so I hope.
I'm also trying to learn with every episode. But I think more than that, I think it was important for me to kind of unpack that story of yours, which few of your friends might know, your colleagues might know, but the larger world needs to know the man behind Devil Circuit. Yes, he's available to be hired as an MC. But he's an unpaid MC for Devil Circuit though. People who want to sign this up for their employees, sponsors, or you want to tag him on social media, go ahead, tag him out there. Great guy, absolute fun. I am even now dreaded. You have to tell me what's the workout going to be tomorrow.
It's called Pain Crushers, but that's all I'm going to say. So tomorrow.
Okay, so I should get my balms and my massage guns along with me. But this has been super fun, Adnan, and wish you all the best to you and the entire team. Excited to see the next 10 years of Devil Circuit.
Thank you, and I just want to say thank you to everybody out there who's listening in and has continued till the very end. Hopefully, we kept you entertained. But I want to basically give a shout out to the tribe of Devil Slayers who have kept me motivated, kept me sort of disciplined and given me the energy and the boost that I needed in these last 10 years, the critical moments, because without them, none of this was possible. So the guys,
So I should be doing
for,
that, right?
for Dilip and for us, together we're going to get him to say the war cry. So Dilip, the war cry is, together as a group, me and you, we're going to say this. It's Booyah!
So we go say it again.
Yeah, we say this again, right? So
Right? Yeah.
So Dilip, for the tribe of Devil Slayers, and for everybody else who
everyone
wants to
out
join
there.
our tribe,
Yeah.
the war cry is Booyah!
Yeah, I've been always so this has almost been an anthem now, right? I mean, a short form anthem, and it's just amazing the energy you bring. The first time I heard you, it actually gave me goosebumps, like when you said "booyah." So fascinating, Adnan.
Thank you
so much for being here. I don't even have a track how much time it's been now, but it was super fun.
No, it was pleasure was all mine, and it was great chatting with you, and look forward to keep troubling you.
Yeah, I'm excited for the next 10 years and how Devil Circuit is going to grow.
Thank you. And all the other IPs.
All the IPs, yes.
Yes.
So that's it, guys. Adnan Adeeb, founder, MC, the Booyah Man for episode 1 at Rainmatter Health, the new series of podcasts. I hope it was as exciting, as fun to you as it was for me to share this couch and have this long conversation. I would strongly encourage you to go and keep an eye on social media, everywhere where Devil Circuit and Adnan is. He will soon keep you posted on when the new events are going to come up. And thank you if you had stayed tuned till this end. The first episode, more exciting founders and startups going to come. If you are someone who is building something exciting in the health and fitness space, Rainmatter is a platform we are trying to help more and more companies to build solutions in the health and wellness category. So yes, do reach out. Please send in some feedback. If it's on YouTube, leave some comment here. Learning process for me, it's a new thing to me. I've never gone to a podcast school to understand how to do it, but I'll learn through with every episode. Thank you again, and see you in the next episode.